Hello, episode 46
What's up?
of The Stagler.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marilyn?
I'm doing great.
Hey, Marilyn.
Yeah.
Marilyn might not look it, but she's up there in years. She's got that. I mean, she looks great. Don't get me wrong.
Looks wonderful.
But she is getting up there in years.
It's true.
That's true. How do you think? Never mind. I was just gonna say that isn't it bizarre that we have a cutout of Marilyn Monroe sitting behind us at all times, and we like personify her and do little voices and
And I've never actually acknowledged her until this moment.
well, she was like a real living person.
She is.
Well, yes.
She's gonna walk over to you.
Oh, hey. Oh, wow. She's never been this close to me. I don't think I like it. Okay. That's about good.
Well, that's about good.
That's about good.
Speaking of good, I watched movies.
Yeah.
And some television. And by the way, I said good. No,
Oh.
I have like half and half.
Okay.
I have a lot, so I'm just gonna kind of roll through them.
Sure.
The Expanse finally ended. It's
Right.
amazing. It actually was pretty amazing. I thought it ended beautifully. It was a nice like stopping point, but it leaves enough for like the future because there's more books they could adapt, but they were just stopping it now. But this is like a good stopping point, and it was very nice, and I loved it very much. It was fucking awesome. I don't want to spoil because obviously you haven't watched the show.
No spoilers.
I started a new show
Okay.
that I'm actually flying through, and I think you'll be happy. I started watching BoJack Horseman.
Oh, okay. Sure. I mean, I'm kind of happy. I'm happy.
Okay, and I'm almost done with season 2,
Okay. Yeah.
so
flying.
I'm rolling.
Okay.
I like it. I think it's good.
I hope
it's
you're
funny.
ready.
For what? The emotionalness?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Well, I think I can already see like hints of it, and I like it.
One of
So-
the episodes literally almost gave me a panic attack.
Good.
'Cause it
That's
was
what I'm ready for.
okay. I hope so.
But yeah, I think it's really good. So
Why?
far.
May I ask why?
Why did I start watching it?
Yeah.
Well, when I get home from work in the morning,
Was it
I
Aaron
always
Paul?
like to eat breakfast.
Oh.
And when I eat breakfast, I like to watch things. And it's easy. I don't want to watch like a 1 hour
Yeah.
show for breakfast, so I choose like little 30-minute shows. And Scrubs wasn't doing it for me.
Oh, yeah?
So I stopped watching Scrubs.
Okay.
So I was just like, oh, I know BoJack is a show that people say is good, and I've been like kind of like beating around the bush on it for a while. So I was like, yeah, we'll do it. So now I watch BoJack. So literally every day I watch at least one BoJack episode.
Right.
So that's
Sure.
why I'm going quickly. So
'Cause
that's why. There you go.
Because there's Aaron Paul who you like,
Aaron Paul,
and then there's I don't remember her name, but you know Princess Carolyn,
definitely.
and you hated her in The Mandalorian. So
Right. She's like the
like robot droid lady. Who
Yeah.
takes care of the baby sometimes.
right. Yeah.
Do you like her more now that she's a little pink kitty cat?
Carolyn's cool.
Okay.
A vibe with
I love
Carolyn.
Princess Carolyn.
Allison Bree's in it too, and from
Yes.
Community. I watched
yeah.
all Community. So yeah.
And so is what's his name? Paul F. Tompkins, I think, as Mr. Peanut Butter.
Who's he in Community?
He's on Community. I was just saying the guy. It's naming people.
Oh.
So is the guy from. Oh, I should know his name. The BoJack Horseman.
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett from
Everyone knows
Arrested
Will.
Development.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do shows like that, I'm trying to think who else is in the show. I think
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, Lisa Kudrow. I know shows up at
Turtle
some
Top.
point. She's not a recurring character. but
Daniel
she does show up.
Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe.
He's in one of the episodes I just watched. Daniel Radcliffe's in it,
okay.
and it was just funny.
Okay, sweet. Plenty of people. Plenty of
He's
stars.
like, I'm Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah. Because they're in like the Hollywood place.
They're doing like the Mr. Peanut Butter's like game show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because the end of the episode is like, he's like, you get $500,000 for charity if you get this question right. But if you get it wrong, we burn it live
Yeah.
on television.
Yeah.
And the question was like, who stars in Harry Potter? And it's obviously Daniel Radcliffe, but Daniel Radcliffe was kind of being a dick to BoJack, so he's like Elijah Wood, and then they just drop the money in the fire, and the episode ends. Very funny.
That's funny.
Anyway, I started watching that.
Back in the 90s.
Yeah, good song.
That's what Group Love. I think.
Yeah. Speaking of Daniel Radcliffe, I watched the Harry Potter 20-year anniversary special on HBO Max.
Oh,
It was the most amazing thing I ever watched in my
Oh,
entire life,
cool.
I think. I was totally transported once again, like I was a child watching Harry Potter. It was totally amazing watching everyone come back together and literally just being like, "Fuck you, J.K. Rowling."
oh yeah,
It was
that's nice.
awesome. She like wasn't even part of it. She has like 2 things in it, and it's not even. They're like old like archive interviews. I just think it's great.
J.K. Rowling, the turf.
Rolling, I don't know how to say it. Whatever. It's
I'll
pretty
say it,
awesome,
either
and it
one.
was wonderful, and I cried.
Good. So you're the type of person that's made for. Perfect.
Yeah, it was great. 10 out of 10.
That stuff. I don't know. That stuff never. I mean, not that I was huge Harry Potter, but just the idea of it has never got to me too
It was
much.
so wonderful.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
glad.
totally elated. I also watched. Now this is crazy. This movie called Mortal Engines. Have you ever heard of this?
Of course.
Have you seen it?
No. Who hasn't heard of this? Pretty big movie though.
Was it?
Yeah.
So Mortal Engines is like a sci-fi like story that was like a book series, and it was gonna be the new big thing, and it totally fucking bombed, and everyone hated it. So I never saw it, but I finally watched it. What is the deal? This movie slaps. I don't know what to say. It has freaking awesome characters. There's only one character that's like annoying, and he's like kind of one of the main characters, but like you can get
that's usually a
past it.
problem.
But then the rest of it's so cool. There's awesome sci-fi battles. There's awesome sci-fi ideas. There's a freaking Terminator-esque robot, Shrike, who's the coolest, baddest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. And my girl, Frankie Adams, from The Expanse, is in this movie. So partly biased, but also I thought Mortal Engines was really cool. The idea of like the moving cities like on wheels is like freaking cool. It's just a cool little post-apocalyptic world. I thought it was a really cool movie. I don't know why people hate it so much. I can see where people might have some quibbles with it, but I don't know why like everyone collectively hates it.
Maybe it was part of it. I always thought the idea of advertising things as the next big thing is like a surefire way to kill it immediately. Because I feel, to me, when you advertise like, this is the next Star Wars,
I think
people
it
are
is.
like, fuck you. I love Star Wars. Nothing will ever be the next Star Wars.
I guess.
But do you know what I mean? It's
I
like,
do know what you mean.
It's setting it up to fail every single time.
It's
Where
true.
it's like, remember Lord of the Rings? Fuck that. This is better. People are like,
Yeah.
get away from me.
That's true, I guess.
Because
But-
then any small thing becomes a huge deal.
But yeah, so I really liked it, but obviously they're not gonna make any
not.
more of them because they canceled it. So I liked the first movie, and I guess I'll have to read the books to know what happens. So I'll do that. I watched. This is fucking terrible. I watched 3 more of the Twilight films. New Moon, awful. Maybe the worst movie I've ever seen. In my
I
life.
like the Twilight movies.
I watched Eclipse. Better, but still, just these movies suck. I don't want to get into why. I would talk for a long time.
Sure.
Eclipse better. There's a Muse needle drop in it. I like Muse, so that was cool. That gave it an extra star.
Yeah.
And then I just recently, a few days ago, watched Breaking Dawn Part 1. What the fuck is going on in these movies?
The Breaking Dawn Part 2 is like the height of the series.
Have you seen? So you've seen all
I've seen all of
these,
them, yeah.
And you're a big fan.
I'm
Are
a
you-
huge
what
fan.
team? Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I'm team
I'm Team Edward.
spoiler.
Your team spoiler. Really? I only have half
Oh.
of a movie to go.
Oh my god. That movie's so good.
Part
oh my
2?
God. I just remembered a part from it.
Or Part 1.
Part 2.
Part 2, I haven't seen
I
it.
just remembered a part from it that's so good, and I might have to rewatch it so we can talk about. Are you gonna have seen it by next episode?
I'll see it next Thursday.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Oh, what a great movie.
Because this last one ended with Edward eating Bella's placenta, and like the baby came out, and now Bella's a vampire. Now finally, after 4 movies, she's finally a vampire.
And Jacob wants to get with it.
And Jacob is like angry. He's like, I don't like that Bella's with Edward.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, I don't. Why am I talking about? See, this is what they do to you. You hate them, but you love them, and I
Yes.
hate it. I plan to never see the. Anyway, I watched The Lost Daughter on Netflix. It was very good film. I thought that it had a very interesting take on like motherhood. There's not a lot of movies that like approach it in this way. I thought it was a very good film.
I haven't seen it yet, but I will say, of the like small handful of people that I listen to about movies, you're the only person I know that's liked it.
Really
Yeah.
interesting. I thought it was very good. I
Not
put it on
like-
my list.
Not like they hated it, but they're like, yeah, it's fine. You know, you're the only person who was like, yeah, it was good.
I thought it was good.
Okay.
Interesting. And then
But I don't know if I can trust your opinions anymore, but we'll get to that.
Oh, baby. Hold on. We have one more thing to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
Before that. Attack on Titan came back.
Yeah.
And you only saw the first episode so far. So
Yeah.
we can only talk about that one. What'd you think? What's going on?
That was boring.
Eren Yeager. It was boring.
Yeah.
What?
It just felt like a recap of everything I already knew, like with just like kind of fighting that led to nothing. It's just like, oh, wait for the next episode.
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah.
But you are excited.
But
for
I
the
am
next
excited
episode.
for the
You need
next
to know what
parts,
happens.
so
It's so
it
good.
worked.
It's so good. You're not ready.
Okay.
That's it's so good. I promise. Anyway, watched a film. You watched a film. That I guess you liked and I did not like.
Yeah.
So
And it usually we disagree, but usually it's like a little bit like, oh, I loved it, and you're just like, oh, I only liked it, or oh, I liked it, I thought it was okay. But this, you hate it.
I actually thought this film was awful.
You hate it, and I think it's really good. I don't love it, but I think it's really good.
I mean, who knows? Maybe I was just in the wrong mindset. The Power of the Dog.
We should get that out
Jane
of the way.
Campion's new film. She's
Film.
back.
She's back.
Big film. Everyone said it was really great. It's big front runner for the Oscars. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, cool. Let's fire it up. I was a big fan of the piano.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. And I was like,
So you were tired when you watched
the
it.
whole film. No,
That's
I
your
didn't
problem.
sleep through it.
You just did sleeping noises.
I was fucking bored. I could have slept. What the fuck? This movie sucked.
I thought it was great. What's your problems with it? Defend your position.
Oh my god. Do we have to do this?
Yes, because this is highway robbery.
I guess I don't know. There's only one thing about it's better if I talk about the things I like. There's one thing about the film that I like, and that's it looks nice. I thought
Oh
the
my
cinematography
God.
was really great.
So beautiful. Montana, New Zealand looks great.
I just thought I thought everything in this movie seemed fake. And I hated it. Nothing seemed real. All the performances seemed like fake. Like they were trying to make a fake movie. Like this was a dollhouse movie and someone's like playing with their dolls. That's what this movie was to me, and I hated it.
So you get it. So wait, that I'm gonna say the thing that we both hate. That is the point. Because let's talk about this. You have Phil Burbank, okay, who is Benedict Cumberbatch, who, if you think about it, who is going to be the first person you cast as the rough and gruff cowboy type? In my opinion, it's not Benedict
Not
Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
In the film, we find out that he's like actually apparently Yale graduate, smart dude. He just likes castrating cows all the time with his bare hands.
He's like, I don't need gloves.
Fun. He's like, I stink and I like it. You know? You have Jesse Plemons, who's like the owner of the house. He was working with him for like, 25 years, they said. And now he's like this kind of more posh, like meeting with the governor. Oh, we need to clean and be well groomed. This is my wife. She's like basically this Norma Jennings type diner lady.
Yeah, I
who's
guess.
now like, oh, put on this pretty dress and you play piano, right? Yeah, I know you haven't done it in like 20 years, but you got to perform and everything. And it's all these people who are basically trying to be things that they're not. And that's like, so I get what you mean with performance, because I have a review on Letterboxd. I know you haven't read, but you can read it afterwards.
Right.
I was with you actually for the first half of this movie until I caught on.
Oh,
that,
see, I never.
Of
got it.
course, the
I mean, I got it,
performance
but
is
I didn't
bad.
get it.
That he's. Of course, I don't buy him as this tough cowboy, because that's not who he is. He's pretending to be this tough cowboy. Of course, she's not this glamorous, lady, because that's literally not who she is, and she's the worst at pretending, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jesse Plemons' really only like crack that we ever see is the moment we get with him and Rose, like standing together in the middle field, and he's like, "Oh, I love to be alone with you," and stuff like that. Is the only other real crack that we see in him, because he's not really in the film like too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Peter, the Rose's son, who I don't remember Jesse Plemons' character's name. Phil's
Couldn't tell
brother. But the stepson of the woman he married, Rose, Kirsten Dunst, and he's as far as I can tell, not putting up a front. He appears weak. He appears feminine. He's chided. He's like, Nancy boy, whatever. Phil Burbank like fingers his little paper flower and burns it and everything.
Right.
And where all of their fronts end up being their weaknesses and their faults, his front of how he's perceived, his weakness, is his greatest asset in getting what he wants by the end of the movie. It's what allows him to kill Phil and save his mother. And so I just really like that idea of that.
Sure.
I wasn't sure if I really liked Cody something. He's Nightcrawler in the X-Men movies. But
That's who that is?
yeah.
No way.
Exactly, right?
Wow.
I know.
Can't tell when he's blue in the movie.
Right, exactly. So I do agree with you that, yeah, when you're watching it, it feels like fake until you kind of, it's like, wait, that's what they're doing here. And I think the moments to really focus on in times like these is specifically Kirsten Dunst. She gets an alcohol problem and she starts abusing it. And I think there's a really haunting scene where she is really drunk and going to her son. She's like, oh, I remember when I was a kid, we had these like Valentine's Day boxes and we did this thing. And she's just like reminiscing and reminiscing. And the kid's kind of like freaking out, like, hey, you don't have to do this. Whoa, you're like falling apart, you know? Actually, I think a lot of Kirsten Dunst scenes are really good. Mm-hmm. There's a part where she's practicing the piano and she can't get it. And Phil just like bodies her by playing it perfectly on the banjo the first time and then slamming the door like, bitch.
Yo, what up?
You know? And Phil is playing this character who is like very, very angry, very like vengeful. He has this Bronco Henry mentor, possibly lover figure,
Definitely.
you know, who is taken from him at the end of the film. That's why he's so angry at Rose, because it's his brother found love and he knows it's something that he's never going to get. So he makes her the target of his anger, you know, take it out on her. Mm-hmm. And even there's a scene that I really liked where he's like beating this horse. He's like, and he's like, you whore. And he's like beating on it.
Yeah.
And it's juxtapose that with like him, think of him alone at the lake. He's like got the weird Bronco Henry cloth and he's like rubbing it all over his body and stuff.
He's having a good time.
And he's looking at the manly magazines and everything. And Peter ends up discovering that and sees that as his in, you know. Mm-hmm. They strike up a friendship, right? And I think it's only really ever hinted at when you find out that Peter captured a bunny and he gave it to his mother to make her happy and then ended up dissecting it because he's studying to be a surgeon. And it's the only real hint that you're like, oh, this kid has like an edge that like isn't really out there. So he starts the relationship with Phil, teaches him to ride, basically trying to teach him just like the ranch life almost. And then Rose had a dig at him, like sells all the hides that are supposed to be burned. And that's when Peter sees this as his opening to give Phil the infected rawhide that he knows that he's going to handle with his bare hands.
Right.
Gives it to him. He makes the thing. He gets sick like immediately, dies within like days.
That quick.
And he's like, yeah, mission accomplished. Fuck you.
Good job.
And he reads the psalm, deliver my soul from the sword, my darling from the power of the dog. The dog being Phil and the darling being his mom. Because the film opens with what kind of man would I be if I didn't protect my mother or something like that, you know? So I think the key to enjoying this movie is patience. You need to trust that it's going somewhere. You need to be like, this is all leading up to something. Oh, this is whatever. And it's a movie that, here's the thing, I don't think it's about any of their relationships. It's all about each individual character alone, separate, you know, not actually interacting with each other. Peter's the only one that really bridges the gaps between people. Otherwise, everyone's so isolated in their doubts and insecurities. And you know what's funny? It's the kid. It's not even stated if he's gay or not. He's just feminine. You know what I mean? So he might not even be.
Yeah.
Which is another cool little detail because they never really get like intimate.
No.
So, you know, I don't know. I do think that the reveal at the end, maybe they should, it comes so fast and then the movie's just like over by the time that happens that I wonder if it just doesn't give enough time before credits roll for people to like catch up, I guess, and like be able to think about the implications of it and everything. Because you have it and it's like, oh yeah, he killed the guy, and then the movie's like over.
Yeah.
But you don't really get time to like think about like what does that mean and how does that affect like everything he was doing in the movie? Like how far back was he like planning it and everything? And not that that's the part that matters, but just the like psychology of it all, you know? I liked it. So that's why I
that was very well articulated, and I can't say anything about that because that was really good.
Right.
That was wonderful.
Do you think
Glad you enjoyed the film.
it's something that you think you could give a second shot?
Watch again?
Especially
Yeah.
knowing the ending and you're like, okay, I know that he's going to take it out. So like the first scene where he's like Nancy Boy and burns his flower and you know like that dude's going to fucking kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that something that you think you would like maybe be able to enjoy the film more that way?
Could be. I would watch it again.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like, film where I was like,
Yeah,
"I'm
I
gonna
never.
watch this ever
I don't
again."
think it's ever going to happen to like. I don't think it's ever going to become your favorite movie.
No.
But I hope you'll be able to like at least see the appreciation, be like, oh, I get what's going on now. Because like I said, I wrote in my review, I was like, these performances are bad.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh wait, no, they're just really insecure people. Like they're just dialing everything up to 11 because they don't know. And my best defense to this actually is the scene where the governor comes over and you see two people who actually are what they say they are and just comparing them in the whole party scene. It's like, okay, no, they know exactly what they're doing. These people just are struggling to like keep up, you know?
Interesting. Maybe that's just a Jane Campion moment.
Maybe.
Just being really great at what she does.
She's a sneaky, I think I wrote that. She's just a sneaky woman. I don't trust her.
Sneak.
I liked it. Again, I'm not saying it's the best movie ever made, but
Is it the best picture winner of the 2021 Oscars?
I could see it being that. I have another question. What did you know about this movie going in?
Nothing.
You didn't know anything. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Actually, nothing other than a lot of people liked it, and it was like the front runner.
Because I think it would, if you had any expectations going in, it'd probably be a detriment. Because like if you're expecting like a Western, oh, you're going to be mad.
Oh,
You
you
know what I
definitely,
mean?
yeah.
Because there's no vibes of that at all.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So yeah, I don't know. I see the piano in this, and I guess that's just Jane Campion. You know, I can see that. I think they're both movies that this one to a much greater extent. It's just like be patient, because I don't think I really enjoyed this movie until the end, and so on a rewatch, I think I might really enjoy it.
That's fair.
So I don't know, but
That's fair.
that's cool. That does it for our weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We can get into the news.
The news.
Sad news starting us off.
Terrible.
Bob Saget has passed away. He was 65 years old. And that sucks.
Does suck. America's dad.
65, like, wow.
Young.
That is, you would think they're around for a little bit longer. You see a lot of people sharing their sentiments and everything. A lot of very touching send-offs to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who didn't watch Full House?
Right, exactly.
So.
Who doesn't, I mean, everyone knew Bob Saget. Even if you didn't know him.
Right, yeah.
Just
People
the
would, like,
name.
use his name as, like, a curse word.
Yeah.
Just be like, Bob
Yeah.
Saget.
Yeah, just a cool guy. That's too bad.
Rest in peace.
Daniel Radcliffe, we were talking about him. He's to play Weird Al Yankovic in Roku's first original biopic movie.
That's strange.
Why is it strange?
Because it's weird.
Al Yankovic.
That's just good job, Daniel Radcliffe.
He's been doing all those weird movies, like the
Making
one
it.
with the farting corpse and the one with the gun hands and the one with the horns.
Akimbo.
Yeah. He's been
The
doing a lot of
farting
weird
corpse.
movies.
Is that Swiss Army Man?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
So, yeah, he's done a lot of weird stuff. I think this is a perfect fit.
He's trying to distance himself from Harry Pooper, and I get.
But he
I
just
get
did
it.
the special, didn't he?
Well, yeah. I mean, he doesn't want to like. He just doesn't. He doesn't want
Sever
to
it?
distance. Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
want to like burn the bridge. He just wants to be like, I don't want to be
Continue
like
stuff.
only people see me and see Harry Potter. They see Daniel Radcliffe.
I don't know. He's not there yet, but maybe he could get there.
He could pull a Bryan Cranston.
He could pull Brian, or maybe Elijah Wood, depending on who you ask. Depends who you ask. But that's for a lot of things.
Don't ask BoJack.
New Wallace and Gromit movie to premiere on Netflix in 2024.
Let's go.
And here's the first synopsis. Where's the first synopsis? I don't see. They're hiring people. Oh,
Nice.
Gromit's concern that Wallace has become overdependent on his inventions proves justified when Wallace invents a smart gnome that seems to develop a mind of its own. As events spiral out of control, it falls to Gromit to put aside his qualms and battle sinister forces, or Wallace may never be able to invent again.
Oh no! Can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, so this will be the one. I believe it's like the new voice actor because the old voice actors I think like passed away and stuff. So that'll be cool
Makes sense.
to get it under his belt and everything. Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, come
on
on.
Who do you like more, Wallace or Gromit?
Ooh, toughie.
Okay.
Can't say here.
Can't
Can't
say.
say on air.
Not on air? Okay,
Yeah.
tell me after the show. Knives Out 2.
Let's go.
It's happening.
I'm big.
And it's exciting.
I really love Knives Out. Great
Ryan
film.
Johnson is a whodunit junkie, he says. And that's great. What are your hopes for I just wanted to ask that. What are your hopes for Knives Out 2?
I want Daniel Craig's accent. I want him to go further.
Okay.
I want more of the accent.
Yeah.
That's my one thing. Other than that, I don't want Ryan Johnson to pull the same trick with like he did in the first movie. The first movie plays like a trick on you basically like halfway through when you actually just like figure out what happens and you find out that the movie is not really what you think it is.
Yeah. You want to actual like for more
Well,
serious?
it doesn't have to be like a straight up like whodunit, but if he wants to pull another like
Well, it's something going to be a
switcheroo-y-
whodunit.
yeah,
That's just- yeah.
but it can't be. It can't be Knives Out again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think they're even going to call it. Yeah, it says right here the title isn't even going to be Knives Out 2. It's going to be something else. He just doesn't know what.
It just has
That's
Daniel
like the
Craig's.
placeholder. Yeah,
That's the only thing, right? Is he's just on another thing.
As far as I know, yeah, maybe like I don't know, if one of the cops or something, maybe.
yeah,
But it's always supposed to have been anthology. That was always
Right.
his vision. That if there is a sequel, it's going to be a totally different mystery.
just the same detective.
And I think that's really cool.
That is
And I
great.
could see this becoming like I could see like 4 or 5 of these being made.
Benoit
You
Blanc.
know,
Yeah,
I could definitely see that. I don't know, especially thinking about a possible third. It's hard to say, don't do something kind of really switch it up or whatever, because you feel like you'd have to, especially because whodunit's just like a thing that's happening. I mean, we have Death on the Nile coming out soon too,
Yeah.
which is the same idea. So I don't know. I do agree that it can't be Knives Out again. Just with like different characters in different circumstance. Just switched up a little bit, but I don't know.
I'm sure he will. Ryan Johnson's very talented.
I can't imagine a very straightforward.
It'll definitely be different than
Yeah.
most whodunits that
As
you're
long
used to.
as it isn't everybody did it and nobody did it. Those are my two
yeah,
most hated
somebody's got to do it.
whodunit like tropes, I guess. Everybody did it, which of course was fine for the first one, the Polar Express.
The Polar Express, the Murder on the Orient Express.
Murder on the Orient Express. Yeah. That's fine. It was like the first one. After that, stop it. And nobody did it? That gets me.
What about a couple?
A couple's fine.
What if there was like a group of people?
That's fine. Just not everybody. And a group, I mean, it depends. As long as it's not the majority.
Like 3.
If you have 5 people, only 2 are allowed to have done it. If you have 10, only, 5, I guess. That's what I say.
Okay.
Because I don't know. And nobody did it is the worst.
Which ones have nobody did it?
There was a book I read in middle school. I think it was called The Westing Game. And I hated it because our English teacher was like, oh, it's a whodunit. It's fun. Write about who you think did it and why. And she would force us to be write 3 reasons why this character might have done it. And I was like, it's obvious they didn't do it. And she's like, I don't care. You have to write 3 reasons.
Right.
And the twist was nobody did it.
So how'd the person die?
He didn't.
Oh, he didn't die.
Yeah.
He was alive.
And that's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, why? How do we know he's dead?
Interesting.
And I thought it was so dumb. Nobody died. Oh, fuck you. It's awful. Could you imagine?
That sounds stupid.
Sounds stupid. Anyway. Knives Out too.
Can't wait.
Here's big
This
news.
is
Huge. Giant.
news. Can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jason Momoa, Aquaman himself, Duncan Idaho himself.
Oh my gosh.
Is coming to the family in Fast and Furious 10. He's going to be familying up with Dominic Toretto and his brother.
Well, it's said that he's probably going to be the villain. So unless they pull
Is he really going to be the villain? We know who the villain is. It's Cypher.
Cypher.
And maybe Jason Momoa works with Cypher for a little bit, but we know that he's going to become part of the family. Just like Cypher will eventually, too. I'm hoping.
I hope so.
I'm hoping Cypher becomes
I'm
part of the
hoping
family.
Cypher wins and they all die.
That's not good. You know what the Fast movies are about.
I
Family.
know, but I hope it's like Cypher's family.
What if Cypher at the very final movie, she's like, Dominic Toretto's about to kill her, and she's like, "All I ever wanted
Was
was a family." And he's like, "Family." Puts his hand out. There's always room for family, just like he always says. And then picks her up, and now she's like little auntie Cypher.
I was hoping like she would pull out like adoption papers or something and be like, Dominic Toretto, I want to adopt you, and she would adopt
into
him,
my family,
and they would join Cypher's family, and they'd all be high tech because they need that tech.
Interesting.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know. It's a toughie.
Who knows? Maybe Me Sunday could
Me Sunday
adopt Cypher or marry Cypher.
could be Ramsey.
Me Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
Ramsey's the one who cut off Reek's
but...
neck.
No, Ramsey in Fast. That's her name.
But yeah, you're right. It's likely that, I mean, he's the body type to join the family.
So the question is,
What's going on with Han and Shaw?
you mean Hobbs? Hobbs and Shaw?
No, Han.
Or Han?
Han and Shaw, because the last thing we saw was Han being like, "Yo, what's up? You tried to kill me," and then it cut to black, and that's the last thing we saw.
It's true.
So I want to know what's up with them.
They're all right. But I'm thinking, in Fast 9, what did we do? We went to space. Aquaman's coming in. Are we going underwater?
That's smart. I like that. Do you think he's going to be playing Aquaman?
No, but we could go under. You know what I'm saying? Just like the idea. We could find like if we found Atlantis in Fast 10, that would be cool. Be like, whoa! Like
that could be cool.
Tej and Roman are in Atlantis. They're like, I'm in Atlantis, man.
That could be pretty sweet. I
think that's probably the way to go. And then for I don't know if Fast 11's the last one or Fast 12, I can't remember. But for 11. The last movie, they need to go all the way back and do a racing movie for the last one.
That's never gonna happen.
They need to go back to Race Wars. It's the greatest thing. They need to go back to Race Wars and have just a final little race movie.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I'm just saying that's what should happen. Keep on going up, go crazy. We were in space, go underwater to Atlantis, maybe go to another galaxy in one of them. But then dial it back for the last one. They all race.
I think in the last movie, somebody should beat Dominic Toretto in a race.
No, absolutely
And it should
not.
be
his son? Mm-hmm. Okay, now that would be okay. But if someone else beat him?
No.
Or, you know what? Since Brian is still alive, canonly, they could have, or canonically would be the word. Canonically. They could have them finally have a race in the last movie, and Brian wins, actually. Because the one time he did win, Dominic let him win.
Yeah.
So it could be huge.
That could be good.
Because, you know, in like 10 years when that film comes out, we'll have the technology to bring Paul Walker back.
And
just
then
saying.
Cypher will be there too.
Yeah.
Cool. And Jason Momoa. All right, sweet.
That's sick.
Sick. Cuphead show.
Yeah, cool.
It's a cool Cuphead show.
It looked cool. Did you watch the trailer?
I did.
It seems cool.
Yeah, I love the animation. It's sweet. It's really cool. I don't know if it's going to be like my favorite show ever.
Yeah, no. It'll probably just be a fun little thing.
It seems like something I'd turn on and like do something else. Like on my phone or something. But no, it looks really cool. I honestly, for a second, I thought it was going to be like, not like BoJack, but like a adulter show. Mm-hmm. And I was like kind of confused by the tone of the show, the trailer, because I couldn't tell. I was like, is this for kids or is this for adults?
Right.
And it seems like it's like just in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I don't know if that's going to benefit it or not, but it looks cool.
It does look cool.
Visually, it's very sweet. And I'm glad that people who made the game...
Right, yeah, that's cool, that Cuphead getting a show.
Maybe it'll be the best video game thing.
You never know. We also have Halo coming out, don't forget.
We also have Moon Knight coming out. Oh my god.
I didn't watch the trailer.
Stop. Okay. I didn't watch the trailer either.
But Oscar Isaac, it's cool. I probably won't watch the movie. I'm just saying, Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke, that's cool.
Movie, I thought it was a show.
Moon Knight is a show?
Oh, I don't remember. Maybe it's a movie. You're right.
Maybe you're right.
Well, how could it be a show if it has Oscar Isaac? He wouldn't do a show, would he?
Would Ethan Hawke do a show?
Yes. He'll do the Black Phone.
Maybe it is a show.
I don't know. Netflix raises prices on all plans in the U.S. I know that. which is like the fourth time they've done this in like the last 3 years.
We got to think about it because I just listened to a podcast where they like broke down, like in depth, how streaming. I mean, like in general, we know that streaming services do not make even close to the amount of money as like a box office movie theater would, and just how like that will affect everything in the future and like the kind of like content we get and stuff. So it's not surprising that the prices for these services keep rising. They're probably going to keep rising until people stop paying for it, which who knows when that would be.
I do not pay for my Netflix because
Neither do I.
So that's fine. I would not pay because I'd want the 4K one. I'd want the premium one.
Yeah,
I would not pay $20 a month.
that's a
for that
lot.
shit. That is a fuck ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
So no, thank you.
Honestly, just stick with Amazon Prime. If you want to watch a movie, rent it.
Yeah.
You can watch anything on Amazon Prime. Just some of it you have to pay for, which is like whatever.
I mean, the thing that I think they're just trying to corner is Netflix material that's only on Netflix forever. Or
Right,
whatever,
like Squid Game.
Yeah, right. So I get it, and it seems like a lot of it they're doing obviously to make their money, but to pump back into their originals. Like they just want to funnel all of it into more content and just like keep it a constant cycle.
Yeah.
I would not pay this, but I have somebody else's Netflix and they're happy to, I guess.
There you go.
Perfect for me.
It's just it's honestly kind of troubling.
Yeah. Well, because imagine if this was the price of every single like streaming service.
Yeah.
I mean, Netflix is still like the best one.
It is the streaming service. Yeah, we get it.
So,
It's not looking good. The future is dim.
I don't know. The basic no HD one screen is $10.
No standard definition.
Yes.
$10.
One screen that like only one person can watch.
That's awful. Who wants to watch anything in standard def? Number one.
Right. And it's $10. Like
And you're
that's
paying
just too
$10
much
for that. What?
I would pay the $8.
No, I wouldn't pay anything to stream something in standard def.
I would pay the $8 to have everything on Netflix. Really, what I think I would rather do, even though it's such a pain, I want to just unsubscribe from every streaming service, and then when I want to watch a certain thing, like I want to watch Power of the Dog, okay, I buy a month of Netflix, and then I watch Netflix all that month, and then I stop, and then I look, what's the next thing I want to watch? I buy that streaming service for a month. You know, it just seems like the right way, because I've definitely gone months where I haven't touched one.
Load it up, yeah.
You know? So, and I've definitely gone months where I know everybody who has it hasn't even touched it.
Right. That's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea, but it is a pain. So, you know.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Thanks, Netflix. Peacock loss grows to $1.7 billion in 2021.
It's not surprising. Peacock was just
I have Peacock. I don't pay for it. I have Freecock.
Freecock.
That's what they call it. It's Peacock, Freecock, and then it's Premium Cock.
Nice.
Precock.
Precock.
Freecock and Freecock. I love that. I just use it to watch House.
There you go.
And that's
I
it.
know you like House.
I like House. It's like the best. It's either the best trashy TV show or the trashiest like good TV show.
Interesting.
Probably the best trashy one, I think. At the end of the day, because there's some fucked up stuff that happens in that show.
Nice.
But yeah, thanks Peacock. Hope
Peacock.
you turn it around.
Nah,
Or
they're-
not. I don't know. Okay, that does it.
All right, it's time for the spotlight.
We're talking about some fight scenes.
Fight scenes.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
I'll go first.
Sweet.
We're gonna do. Let's just go with the classic. It's probably the most famous movie that we're gonna talk about today.
Oh yeah.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Obviously, Ang Lee. Very popular filmmaker. He's done. Did Gemini Man recent? Everyone loved Gemini
yeah,
Man.
everyone loved it.
And apparently, I saw that he's doing a new film that's like gonna be in like 8K, 200 FPS.
Oh, nice.
Whatever, like nonsense
I'll
he's
check
coming
it
up
out.
with, and it's just like people just want Ang Lee to make a good movie again.
Yeah.
Which Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is a good movie, but
Right.
we're talking about fight scene from it in which two of the main characters have a little duel in a dojo The one character having the Green Destiny sword, and the other kind of
Having a
using
billion
a bunch
weapons.
of different weapons throughout the whole thing. It's really cool. It's really well choreographed. They use slow-mo at cool moments, unlike other film that I will not mention.
Yeah. They also have, of course, it's like the wires attached to the actors. So when they get struck back, they kind of regain their pose because they kind of float
Which is like
back.
That's like the whole deal with like Crouching Tiger and Dragons.
Yeah.
They call it wire foo, which is
Sure.
kind of cool. But yeah, like the whole film, they have like wires and they do like big jumps and like float around and stuff. It just looks cool. It's a totally sick movie.
It is. I like a lot of it because they seem, relatively evenly matched, but she obviously has like the better sword.
The sword is OP.
Her weapons are just breaking all the time.
Yes,
with
she's
it.
got to get new ones.
So she starts with like a sword or like two swords, right?
She's got 2.
And then those get broken. She gets these like weird metal hook things, and those break. Like a spear, this heavy thing that she can't even fight
pick
with.
it up. Yeah.
So the girl just looks at her and she goes and runs and grabs something else. It's a very just comedic moment in the middle of it. No, I think it's great. This one, of course, we're talking about is weapons based. It's all weapons based fighting. You have some sparks flying at different points. I like this fight because you see all these different weapons only just against a sword, but still you get to see. How's a blunt weapon? How do you work with that?
Right, all the different styles of fighting.
It's really, really cool. That's one of my favorite things about the scene.
Yes, it's very cool. I would have to agree.
I like,
especially when she hooks the 2 hook swords together to like get the extended range. Freaking sick. Dude.
Yeah, it feels like something you do in like Bloodborne or something. Like
yeah, you open your weapon up.
It's great.
That's freaking epic.
No, I love that. All right. Next we have. Why don't I talk about Sherlock Holmes?
First, we make a podcast. Then, we talk about movie on podcast.
Yeah. Then discombobulate.
Discombobulate.
That's great. So yeah, if you know Sherlock Holmes and you know the scene, they're talking about a boxing match in the middle of the film where he has this opponent and he basically breaks down in slow-mo his plan, his idea.
Everything he's going to do to beat him.
So he's like, okay, first distract. He throws a rack. Then block wild left. Then like go for the chin. Then, like discombobulate. And
discombobulate.
I love that. Yeah. And then, like go for the kick and take him out.
Right.
And so you see this all slow-mo. He's talking it through, saying it all out. And then
it's
rewind.
Long, too. It's like
long.
A few minutes.
Yeah. And you rewind, goes back to the start. You see it in real time.
And it's like
and you
10
see it,
seconds.
Yeah, and it's just 10 seconds. He totally takes the guy out. And I love it for it just being a deconstruction of a fight scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Especially if someone who has such total control of the fight, because he didn't stand a chance.
It's Sherlock Holmes, dude.
I don't know if it's something that's really been done quite so specifically, like in depth. Like this is exactly what I'm doing, and then showing exactly what he does.
Right.
I remember seeing it as a kid. I thought it was really cool. I still think it's really, really cool.
Oh, heck yeah. I remember freaking out when I was like 10 years old watching this crap.
I wanted it to be in every movie.
Ever. Yeah. Tell me exactly what you're going to do before you do it.
Please. I want that to be the whole movie. It's just a guy sitting in a room explaining the whole movie, and it's like 4 hours long, and then you watch the movie at regular speed after that.
That would actually be sick.
That would be so good. Or it could be a regular movie, and he talks for like an hour and 15 minutes. Then the last 15 minutes are real time. And make it a normal movie length.
Hey,
it's an idea. Sherlock Holmes 4?
3.
3? 4.
3. There's only 2.
Maybe they're making the 3 already. I don't know.
I wish, because the second one was forever ago. It's almost like they just
like 10 years ago,
stopped making them. It's because Robert Downey
Iron
Jr.
Man.
is too busy with Iron Man, I guess.
But
now he's not. So bring Sherlock Holmes back with Jude Law.
That'd be great. I would actually love that.
The Sherlock Holmes movies rock.
They are very, very good. But yeah, that does it for Sherlock Holmes.
Okay. Let's go across the pond to Hong Kong, where we get Police Story with Jackie Chan. Obviously, Jackie Chan, one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT.
But as far as this stuff's concerned, yes, the GOAT, I would say.
I would say he's the GOAT of, like, comedy in his movements, like comedy choreography, I guess is what you call it. Anyway, we're talking about Police Story, specifically the final confrontation in the mall, where he fights all the bad guys and beats them all up, and then slides down a pole, not once, not twice, but 3 times
Yeah.
in a row, they show him sliding down the pole because they knew that it was way too cool
So
to
cool.
show one time. Because literally, I remember I was watching it and he jumps and slides down the pole, and I was like, that was so fucking cool. I
Yeah.
might have to rewind. Then
And
they
then it
showed
did
it
it
again,
again.
and I was like, thank you. And
Right.
then they showed it again, and I
Yeah,
was like,
they knew what they had.
they did know what they had.
Any Jackie Chan thing, but just talking about this specifically, one of the things that's great is just not just the comedy of it, but also just the mobility of it.
He's so agile.
Mm-hmm.
He's like peak physical human
Yeah, pretty much
in this film. He's like unreal.
Because it's not just what he can do to hurt people
Yeah.
and like get them off them, but just how he can get away or make distance to prepare or whatever he has to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you need a wide angle lens to be
Yeah,
able to keep
exactly.
up just
He
like
does
with all
everything.
the movements he makes. Which is another thing. It's a lot shot very wide. It's very dense, like just item and people wise. There's a ton in the frame in this movie, and I don't know, is that maybe the right filmmaking choice? I don't know, but it worked for me.
Heck yeah.
Because it's just
freaking
like
awesome.
there's scenes where it's like 50 people that you're seeing, and they're not fighting him, but they're just like in the mall.
Yeah, they're
you
just
know?
chilling because it's a mall.
Right, exactly. It's very cool. It makes it feel very like lived in. You know, it's great. It's one of my favorite parts of the.
Yeah, and I love how this isn't like basically like all the Jackie Chan fighting movies, but the way he like uses his surroundings to like help himself fight. Like obviously the main thing that people would think of is like the ladder fight from I don't know what movie that's in, but whatever he uses ladder. But in this one, I remember he uses like a clothes rack and he like
Yeah.
does like a little spinny thing on it and like jumps through.
He'll
and,
like ride
does-
around on it. And
Yeah, it's
everything
just like cool stuff like that that makes Jackie Chan the best.
around.
He hasn't made a movie in a while. He did like The Foreigner a few years ago. We need a new Jackie Chan flick. He's pretty old now though.
Yeah, that's. I think you're asking a lot.
But hey, man, I'm just saying.
I don't know. Why don't we talk about one that's probably the most similar to Jackie Chan that I have on my list?
Okay.
It is possibly, maybe a little less known film called Drive. No,
Not that one.
not that one. Not with Ryan Gosling. This is with Mark Dacascos, I don't know if that's how you say his name. It's from 1997, and it is not a theatrical release. It went straight to video, which is why it might be
Wow.
less well known. But here's the thing. They just got scared at the last minute and thought it was going to bomb. So they're like, forget it. Pull it. And they just didn't do it
Aw.
like cowards, which is sad.
That is a beta
Because
move.
I think this movie's really good.
Yeah.
Get this. You have a Jackie Chan type,
Jan.
which is mean to say to him because he's very talented. And then he is this like, he's got like basically like an engine in his heart. So he's like part robot kind of. And it
Okay.
pumps adrenaline all the time. And so he has like slightly superhuman abilities. He can jump a little higher. He can run a little faster. It's nothing crazy, but he's a little bit better. And he's just a general badass. And so people are after him. And he gets this like black comedic relief sidekick. And they go off and have adventures. Does that, just speaking of Jackie Chan, does that like remind you of anything?
Rush
Yeah, this movie is Rush Hour, but before Rush Hour came
Rush
out.
Hour before Rush Hour.
And it was kind of crazy. Like, wow, it's a lot of Rush Hour vibes in this. Like,
Interesting.
the movie would have succeeded because we saw how Rush Hour did. You know what I mean? Is it as good? I don't know. It's not as funny, definitely. But like, as far as action goes, I think it's just as good. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so, yeah, and also it's before the Matrix, and I was getting Matrix vibes with the last fight and everything.
Yeah, they got the sunglasses.
It was really,
and
really
stuff.
cool. There's a lot of stuff in here that I was like, they had a good movie here. They were just cowards, you know? And it's sad. I think everyone should go watch Drive 1997. But specifically, I'm talking about the final fight. After they sing karaoke together, the final guy comes in. He is all roboed up inside. He's got a bunch of moving parts. So, he's like the better version
He's big Robo.
of the main guy. And they have a fight, and it's a lot of flipping, kicking, chops.
Very athletic.
And he does a lot of like capoeira-esque moves, which is where you kind of like really swing the legs up and stuff like that.
Definitely.
And a lot of keep like momentum. Like there's one part where he gets punched in the face. He uses that momentum to throw himself to the ground to kick his legs up in the air to
Yeah.
get him in the face. He's just keeping the momentum going in the scene. And I think it's really, really great.
That was totally awesome.
I don't know if it's like his signature move, but he does this thing where he goes like and spins
Right,
his
yeah,
hands
like-
around and then does like a big punch in the center of his gut.
It's good. Just Build momentum.
I think that was like his thing, maybe, because it's very cool. And then, bam, right into you.
Smokes him.
That's how you do it.
It's good stuff.
It is. It is very good. Just a little note.
Okay.
So, he's like the final fight, but the
Right.
main antagonist in this is like a Billy Ray Cyrus looking dude.
Nice.
You know, which is funny because he was in Drive with Ryan Gosling, and in this movie they get ambushed in a hotel room and have to use a mattress to like block off the bullets. I just thought it was
Nice.
funny. Also, Brittany Murphy is in this movie. She just shows up. She like her dad owns the motel, and she's like a crazy like freak. She like becomes enamored with him, and she's like, "I love you guys" or whatever.
Nice.
And she pulls out the gun and she starts like shooting all the bad guys. It's like, "Run, you guys!" And it's like she's like 17 or whatever. Like literally, the guy Malik looks at her and he's like, "Are you like mentally disturbed?" And she goes, "Okay."
Nice.
It's just absolutely wild, but it's a really fun performance to watch. She's just going for it.
Wow.
Yeah, Drive, guys. And at the end of the fight, by the way, he runs him over with a. He doesn't run him over. He runs into him with a motorcycle,
And yeah, smushes him on the wall.
which you don't see often.
It's true. That doesn't happen often.
So I don't know. I just was really impressed with this movie.
Yeah.
So sad that it didn't get a theatrical release because it would have performed well. I thought it was great.
You know what else is great? Ip Man.
Ip Man is pretty great.
Film. We're specifically talking about the scene in which Ip Man is like, listen, I want to fight 10 people.
At
He's
once.
like, I think that would be like, okay. He's like, 10 people,
Should be fine.
you know, should be no problem. So they're like, okay. He takes on 10 people at the same time, 10v1, and it's not even close. I don't even think he gets hit once.
I don't think so. No.
He actually annihilates everybody.
It's I get it, but it seems so unfair that some people get like thrown, and then other people get their legs just like broken in half.
Right, yeah.
It's like some of you got off easy.
Don't attack with the legs. I don't know what to say.
Nuh-uh.
The thing I love about Ip Man though is he's so fast. Like his punches are so fast, and there's times where he just like punches somebody like 20 times in the face in like 2 seconds. He's just like,
And it sounds like the Van Halen song.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, and these dudes are just getting like, I couldn't imagine getting punched in the face like 20 times rapidly.
I don't want to. I don't want to imagine that.
Like that would just not be good.
The thing is, it feels like he only has two types of moves. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that because that sounds mean, but it's like his two like signature things is either immediately go for like the most vile, like disgusting bone break of their life, or punch them like a million times.
Right.
So it's either like go for the knee and just like it, or just punch him in the face like a million times.
Until they don't move anymore.
And he just kind of alternates like ba 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 ka ba 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 ka. You know, but it does have a nice rhythm to it.
It does.
And he takes them all out, and it is a really good scene. And apparently, you said it was like a true story.
It's at the end of the movie. It's like
Yeah.
shows like all like the true story stuff about it, and that Ip Man like trained Bruce Lee.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And I was like, okay, and I had to believe it because there was a picture of Ip Man and Bruce Lee.
right.
So I was like, okay.
Was it on the set of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
No,
Oh, okay. Then how do you know it's real?
I guess that's true. You know what? That's probably true.
Could be CGI. I don't know. Ip Man. It really is. The whole movie's great.
Yeah, it was freaking sweet.
I will say if I think the movie is bad, but the action is good, which I don't think is actually true here. But
Yeah, I don't think we have any of those.
the closest I could say would be the next movie in an interesting way, which is Eastern Promises.
Okay.
2007, David Cronenberg. If you know him, you know he likes to bloody.
Cronenberg.
And this is a movie about like, it's this woman who, Naomi Watts, love her, and she takes care of this baby after its mother died in childbirth. You know, so she like takes it and she's like, okay, I need to take care of it. I need to find its family, whatever. She tries to find out who this girl is who came in and died, and it's connected to this like Russian mob syndicate and everything. And so, you know, there's like hits going on and everything like that. And this movie isn't an action movie. This is like the only fight scene, really. There's a few other like kills, but they're not fights. This is the only like fight in it. So what happens is they go into these Turkish baths to assassinate these dudes. They have these little hooks with them. Those look like
hook blades.
hook knife things. And they walk up to him. He's only in a towel, so they come up. They
He's
got
just
their
chilling.
beer. He's like, okay. They stab at him. He's like, oh, not so fast. He stops him, and the fight that ensues is like dirty.
Oh yeah.
It's gross. It's like slow. It's I don't want to say it's like realistic, but compared to flying high kicks and whatever, it's like okay, I guess I could maybe see this happening.
Right.
Just because it's gross. There's blood just smeared everywhere. People like panting for breath and everything. And the moves that he does, not too many of them are so like, oh wow, what a badass thing. It's just like, oh, good call, like good catch. You know? But it's still, despite that, it's well choreographed for what it is. Because this is these clumsy guys. I think a guy even like basically trips at one point. Like over the other guy's like body that's laying there.
Yeah.
And it's nasty as well.
Oh, it's
especially the final
gritty.
kill is just it gets him right in the eye,
right in the eyeball.
And and if you're gonna watch the clip, I should warn that there is nudity.
He's literally naked the whole time.
He is literally naked. There's this one part that is like low key kind of funny, where he does this huge high kick to this guy's chest, and his dick just like flips out. And it's just kind of funny because you never really like think about that like when you see like a cool action movie. But Sing is like,
how is his penis moving in this scene?
His dick just like flopping about. It's like it adds to the like depravity of it. Of like these are just like animals like fighting each other. It really adds to that. He's really fighting for his survival, and the being naked like just adds another layer on top of that. It's like this is desperate.
Absolutely.
And I love that. That's what I think makes it a great fight scene.
It's
despite
totally
not being super like cool.
Right. Yeah. It's just a nasty one.
Yeah. Although when he puts the blade on the ground and then pushes the guy's head into it.
Yeah, that's pretty good moment.
Anyway, that does it for that.
Speaking of good moments, the Raid 2,
full of them,
full of good moments.
This is a movie that, I mean, like the other ones, this one is built around let's make the action as cool as possible.
There's the Raid, the first one. Now there's the Raid 2. The Raid 2, I could choose 20 different action scenes from this movie, and they're all totally just as awesome. But we're specifically going to focus on it's like the second to last one. It's like the climactic one, but I think there's one more after it where Rama and Dude, I don't know if the dude has a name, but Rama, the main character, comes to fight this dude
the assassin,
in a kitchen, a pure white kitchen. And it's funny because he walks in and the dude's standing there and like all the kitchen employees are in there like doing stuff, and they just kind of look at him and they just realize what's happening, and they just all just like walk out the door. They know.
It's like, let's clear.
And then they have just the sickest
it's like long. It's like 7
minutes
or so. Yeah, 7-8 minutes.
It's crazy.
And it is very long. It escalates. It's hand to hand, and then it's like using like pots and pans and stuff around and like bottles, and then it turns to a knife fight at the end. And it's just really bloody as well.
Oh yeah, when they get to the knife fight at the end, they're just both just cutting each other up like
the assassin by the end is just covered in his own blood.
Oh yeah,
just completely.
He's just nuts.
Which is pretty cool.
The white kitchen is now red.
Yeah.
And it's just totally sick.
I think at least as far as all the ones we've talked about so far, the thing that stands out is they did some interesting camera work in this fight
I was going to say, the camera work's really cool in this one.
Because they have sometimes the camera kind of leans with them, or the guy's head gets like thrown across the counter and the camera completely goes down to the counter with him and you see it like fall.
Yeah, it's a lot more like it's more of like an immersive fight.
Yeah.
Instead of like watching the fight, it kind of feels like you're more like
In
into
the
it.
fight,
It gets you kind of like moving with the film. It's really cool.
It is really cool. And the escalation works really, really well. Blood's a bit much for me, but it's a stylistic choice.
It's so over the top. It's just
so
everywhere. Dude gets cut and his fucking like organs fly out.
Right, exactly. And but they still like are going like 100%.
Yeah, he's like,
we're good.
It's awesome.
He literally has to like do it through his jaw to get him to actually die.
Yeah,
it's just gross.
He gets a little twist. There's one point where he like stabs him under the ribs and like
lifts
picks
him
up
with
with it. Oh,
it's like you're done. I'm sorry.
That's tough.
That's no good. Yeah, no. The whole movie is filled with moments like that.
Yeah, the Raid 2 is extremely over the top, gory action, but I like that.
Exactly. Speaking of extremely gory, over the top action, Kung Fu Panda. Everyone knows Kung Fu Panda.
Let's go. Kung Fu Panda's sick.
Kung Fu Panda's great. Yeah, Jackie Chan, guys.
Yeah, he's the monkey.
He's Master Monkey. I'm specifically, there's a few fights, obviously, in the movie. You have the climactic showdown between Po and Tai Lung, but I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about Tai Lung versus Shifu.
Which, honestly, it's in the top 3 best in the whole trilogy. I don't want to do the official power rankings of that. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yes, exactly.
But the Shifu Tai Lung fight is pretty good.
It has sort of reminiscences of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I guess, because they're using weapons kind of around the temple and stuff. And it's also the most like emotionally charged moment of the film.
I was gonna say that.
That's something that really adds to the action because it's like, you were my master, you betrayed me, blah blah blah, and you really feel it. And Shifu kind of reluctantly being like, "Hey, look, it wasn't me. Sorry about it.
Right.
You got to get over it at some point." And he's just filled with this rage. He's taking chunks out of the wall and the pillars like just with his bare hands. And of course, the coolest part, and I mean, they're flying up in the air. There's lightning striking. Like it blends the like martial arts of like the traditional movies, and then the over the top cartoon aspect of it too, so it can really go as far as it wants, And of course, the cartoon aspect is peaked with the actual Po fight because he's just doing stupid cartoon shit.
Right, boink.
But in the Shifu fight, it maintains that this is like an action fight, one-on-one, taking each other out, And then of course, there's a very cool part near the end where Tai Lung's paws literally light on fire.
Yeah.
And he fights with fire paws.
Yeah, he's freaking dope.
It's blue fire with his strikes. You see the fire streak through the air. It's very, very cool.
He's totally sick. And I love, just to add more to like the emotional aspect is, so yeah, like Tai Lung used to be Shifu's like student or whatever, but then became bad or whatever because he wasn't the Dragon Warrior. Anyway.
Oogway said no.
Right. But right before this scene, Tai Lung just destroyed the Furious Five, which is all of Shifu's current students, and he totally just like owned all of them. And he comes up and he's like, I'm gonna fight you now. I don't know. It's just the whole thing totally builds up to this one moment.
Also, in this scene, he also destroys Oogway's staff in this scene.
Yes,
he does, and his spirit like kind of like whoosh, petal blossoms away.
Oogway. God, I love Oogway.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Have you seen the third?
Yes, I have.
Bro, Oogway in the third one, he goes crazy in that one.
I mean, no one can stop Mr. Ping, but
Mr. Ping is quite literally the most overpowered character.
So there we have it. We don't have to get into that, I don't think. But yeah, Kung Fu Panda.
He's got noodle foo.
It's realistically just a really nice choreographed fight scene, and the emotional.
Yeah, it really.
Out of all of these, it's funny to say, out of all of these, I think the emotional stakes are the highest in Kung Fu Panda.
It's true.
No joke.
People sleep on the Kung Fu Panda trilogy. It slaps. You know what else people sleep on? This is the most underrated, I would argue, is the most underrated film ever. I will go as far as to say that this movie is better than Rocky.
Oh my gosh.
It's Real Steel with Hugh Jackman. I could go 10 hours talking about
It's Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
This is a boxing movie, but the boxers aren't people. They're robots.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the final fight between Adam, our main robo dude, and Zeus, the big bad undefeated robo.
Yeah.
And they fight, and I cry. I'll be honest, I cry every time I watch this scene because it's so beautiful, because basically Hugh Jackman has a headset and he talks to Adam, tells him like what moves to do.
Coaches him.
And Adam was just like a junkyard bot that the kid found. And Hugh Jackman used to be a real boxer, but lost his passion. And the kid it's his son, but that's not that important.
Yeah.
So then, some point through the fight, Adam's taking a big beating from Zeus, and Zeus knocks out his like hearing box or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So he can't talk to him anymore with the thing. But since Adam is such an old bot, he still has the old settings for like shadow boxing. And Hugh Jackman's like, oh, I got to do this now. I guess it's the only thing we can do. So then he has to shadow box the final few rounds. And there's a slow-mo moment that gets me really emotional every time, where he's shadow boxing and it's slow-mo, and the kid and his like love interest lady like they're there watching the fight, but they look at him and they see like his smile on his face, and he's like doing his punches, and they both get really happy, and I love it. And then Adam loses, but he wins. Also, one more thing about this film.
Okay.
I just think it's awesome because it's like near future type movie.
Yeah.
There's ads for the Xbox 720, which
Yes.
is just funny because that's what everyone thought was gonna happen.
It is very, very funny.
But no Xbox 720 yet. Maybe they will end up making.
yeah,
the
maybe
Xbox
it was just a
720.
little bit more distant future.
Right,
And
'cause
after
we
the
thought that was
Series
coming
X, it's the 720.
the 720. That would be sick.
And then we know Real Steel is
I
coming.
would buy the Xbox 720.
Just for that reason?
Yeah, just to be like, this was in Real Steel.
Nice.
Do you have anything to say about Real Steel? I just kind of took it all there.
No, that's great. Real Steel's good.
Good. Real Steel better than Rocky, and I love
I
Rocky.
don't know if I agree with that. It's good.
Better than Rocky.
Is there a second? There should be.
That's why where's Real Steel
there
2?
there really should be a second one because it could be really good.
That's what I'm
Steely
saying.
good.
Where's Real
Real or Steel?
to Steel? Too real to steal.
Real Steel. Maybe it'd be like Real. What's stronger than Steel? Real Platinum.
That's it.
Platinum. Anyway.
Anyway, last film.
Last film. We've got an anime, guys.
Oh, anime.
We've got Sword of the Stranger.
Ooh.
Now, when you talk about anime, there's a lot of fights I could have chose.
There's
There's a bajillion.
There's 100 bagillion.
I decided to go for an anime fight that was still not super over the top. It's a little over the top, but not insanely flying, laser beam, light speed, planet blow up,
right.
over the top. Because that's
Two guys fight with swords.
that's where I like to be. You know, it's like it's just a little bit over the top. And this is a movie that's actually pretty good. I liked it. It's not like the best thing I've ever seen, but I enjoyed it. One of the things, before I talk about the scene in general, about the whole movie, is that we follow a character who has no name, and he has a sword with him. He's like a samurai-looking dude, but his sword is wrapped up. It has a cloth that prevents him from opening the sheath. It's a little cloth that, and he put it there himself. He put it there on purpose because he's like, I don't want to kill anymore. Puts a little piece, I think it's called like a peace knot or something like that. So he can't open his thing.
okay.
Because he's like, hey, I was in wars. They made me kill. I could get into spoilers, but I won't. It's like I had to do so many things, and I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not with them anymore. Like, they fell or whatever, so I'm my own. I'm a lonesome samurai, and I'm putting the sword away. So he still has to fight to protect himself in this movie. So until the final fight, he is fighting with his sword sheathed
Oh.
the whole time.
Really?
And it's very, very interesting to watch him fight these people who have real ass swords. They have bows and arrows.
And he's
They
just,
have
like, hitting them.
kunai, and he's just using it to like. He does a lot of like stabbing. Like one guy, he just like basically stabs him in the throat with the end of the thing, and he goes.
He's like,
you know?
yeah, that would be
He's
bad.
and stuff like that. And there's one point where he like uses it to like pick up a boiling hot pot and like throw it at somebody. You know.
Nice.
And it's just that. And it was honestly a really well done emotional payoff when eventually this kid who he's been traveling with and his little dog are in mortal danger. And he's like, I have to do it. And he's like running towards the kid because he's about to be like sacrificed or something. And he takes the cloth in his mouth and he bites it clear. He takes out the sword and goes, and he throws it like across the map, 360.
No scope.
Headshot with this sword. You know what I mean? And then when he claims it, he has to fight all these other dudes. And it ends with this final fight. And this guy's that he's fighting is like a foreigner. He's like a Western European guy. He's blonde hair, blue eyed. And he's kind of a psychopath because really he's just looking for a good fight. He's one of those characters where he's like, oh, I just need someone to match me. And they have this, like, I don't know, like 6 minute or so fight scene.
It's pretty
where
sick.
it's just sword on sword. They're going after each other. They're jumping across this like kind of like scaffolding type construction. And one thing I liked was I just like seeing animated a lot of the actual like, would you call it recoil from like they strike and you actually see their swords like bounce back uncontrollably, you know?
Uh-huh.
There's a part where the sword's like rides up his and it's like about to cut him in the face and he has to like duck out of the way and stuff. He breathes, they're in a lock and he's breathing and you see the sword like what do you call it? Steam up.
Yeah.
Because of the heat from the breath, and just cool little details like that. And then the fight ends, and he barely gets away, and the guy's like, "Oh, this is what being stabbed feels like."
Yeah.
It's
He
just
was
funny.
the best, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah. The one thing that I always love about like anime sword fights and in general basically is I always love the sound design of all because I don't know why, but they always have the best like sword sounds or just like people like hitting each other, just like the noise it makes and like the animation of like the sparks, because they always kind of go a little over the top with like the sparks of the swords clashing. I just always love the way it like looks and sounds. Like I could probably like do like listen to like an ASMR of like anime sword battles.
Right. It's something that you see. It makes me think of like fighting games is the first thing that comes to mind, of just the idea of the graphics. Like if someone does a bunch of sword slash, it's all those like crescent moon sort of shaped like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh,
Right, yeah.
you know, seeing stuff like that, and that's kind of what you're talking about with like everything that happens. And it's just really cool art.
It is cool. Anime is cool.
Wish I could draw.
That's one of the things. I mean, I guess a lot of people say like anyone can draw, you just got to practice, but it's like I feel like that's not true.
That's a lie. That's a total lie.
Some people are just gifted and others are not.
Definitely.
I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
But it would be sick if I could draw.
Yeah, it's a cute little movie. I liked it. It's not gonna top any lists, but the action's good. The characters are like surprisingly, at least the main character is surprisingly has some depth to him, even though he literally doesn't even have a name. Check it out if you want.
Check it out if you want.
That does it for our spotlight.
Heck yeah. You know what that means.
A bunch of fights that you can go watch and have fun and pretend that you are in them and you won.
Yeah.
Except I don't know if you'd want to pretend you were in the Turkish bath one.
Yeah, that one's
That guy turned out not great.
That's not it. That's not what you want.
Reviews of the week?
It's time for the reviews of the week, baby.
I got mine if you want me to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a star. Sterile corporate hell. iPad baby tunnel vision. TikTok jingling keys. Hamilton. And 2000s yogurt commercial mascots all came together to make the most esoteric Christian rock music video with none of the sincerity. Which should be obvious.
It's not. Is it really supposed to be obvious? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, but you're just not thinking about it. Because you don't like when I do this, but it's part of the rules.
Oh, no.
The movie I picked was Encanto. It's a review for Encanto.
Did we talk about Encanto?
Did I not talk about Encanto?
No.
Oh, right, because we went to the Power Dog, and I went to... we never went back to my thing.
You saw Encanto?
I saw Encanto. It sucked.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No.
You didn't like it? I've never seen it.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Not a fan of Encanto.
Yeah.
Dang. It's a shame. You know what? Now I'm going to watch Encanto, and I'm going to
Oh, maybe it's a Power of the Dog situation.
Right, and I'll be like, listen, man, you just gotta really reflect on yourself.
I won't spoil it, but it's bad. No, it's okay. Okay, listen.
The only way this film totally flops for me is if it turns out that she has like some sort of secret actual power where she's like really cool, but she's not just like a person.
Honestly, I can't even tell you the answer to that.
Okay, well, because the thing is, like, her whole family has really cool powers, but she doesn't, right?
Yeah.
I just hope that she doesn't, like, you're actually the most powerful out of your whole
Right,
family.
you have all the gifts. That'd be kind of funny.
Hey, what were you saying? You were going to say something, or do you know?
No, I was just, if you're going to watch it, not really. I just say that, one, the movie's really short, and I feel like with all these characters, they, like, introduce all the characters, and then, like, none of them do anything. You know? Only, like, 3 of them are actually important, and it felt like, oh, it's kind of stupid. I would have rather if it was like everyone got to do something.
That's fair.
But yeah.
Wait, that's funny. Yeah, of course I wouldn't guess that. You didn't talk about it.
I forgot. We must have went for Power of the Dog, and I was so like focused that I was like, oh, right, Encanto. But there you go.
Okay.
I didn't really want... I've been talking about it like all day, so I didn't want to talk about it anymore.
That's fair. This movie, I promise I talked about.
Yeah.
3 stars. Cinema peaked with this one. I'm not afraid to admit that.
Oh. With this one, does that imply that it's part of something else or no?
Could it? And they're not afraid to admit it. I feel like that part's probably the most important. They're not afraid to admit it, which would mean that
Maybe they should be. So
Right.
Real Steel.
Wrong.
Oh. Because they shouldn't be afraid. If
Exactly.
It's
Real Steel. Scream it from the mountaintops.
Right.
No, it's freaking Twilight, Breaking Dawn.
Oh,
part one.
Twilight. Part 1. No. Part 2.
I don't know. I haven't seen part 2.
Dummies.
Haven't read any reviews for that one.
Dummies. That's exciting times, though. Get to finish that. We do have 2 emails, actually.
We have 2 emails. That's the next thing we do.
That we
Did
need
you
to
know that
get
you
to.
can email us at thestaglerpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, you can.
That's what you can do.
Somebody asked what kind of music we like, which is funny because we actually talked about music a bit in this episode.
Did we?
Yeah, we talked about group love. We talked about
Yeah.
Van Halen. We talked about something
Music.
else.
Do you want me to go or do you want you to
Go ahead.
go? I am very open to all genres of music except for country music. Fuck you if you listen to country music. Fuck
Wow.
country music in general.
Maybe lock them doors and turn the lights down.
Yeah, it's my favorite song. But I would say mostly
Little bit chicken fry. Cold Bay raw Friday night.
I would say mostly I probably listen. I don't even know. It kind of just depends.
She
what
thinks my
mood I'm
tractor's
in.
sexy.
Shut up. Music is very important to me. I listen. I don't even know. I just kind of depends how I'm feeling, but I'd say most of the time.
Hey girl,
Most of the
you
time.
got me going crazy. Got my heart racing like the Kentucky Derby.
Are we done?
Yeah, that last one's my favorite.
I'm real big on like metal, like all subgenres of metal. Rock music is cool. Rock and roll. I'm big on rap, hip hop, pop. I love pop. Bring me
We call it
all
soda
the,
and all
all the
that.
pop stars. I don't know. I guess it's like pop music, but it's more like kind of like the girl boss like pop music.
Okay.
I don't know how
You
to
know,
explain
have
it.
I ever said this?
What's up?
The only thing that comes into my mind when people say girl boss is Mindy from Drake and Josh.
That's honestly accurate, though.
I know, but that's all I ever
She's a
see
girl boss.
is her. And she is a girl boss, but that's all that ever comes to my mind.
That's fair, though.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, honestly, this is probably the genre of music I live to the most, is like orchestral, like classical music or like just like soundtracks to like movies or games or like whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I dabble around with anything. If you ever want to send music my way, I'll definitely listen to it. Unless if it's a fucking country song, Tim McGraw being like, "Baby girl, won't you get in my truck and look at the stars with me while I drink some beer
See,
with my sister."
My least favorite is probably like holiday music. It's probably the
Is
music
that a genre?
I listen to. Yeah.
I guess it is.
It's I listen to it the least, I would say, holiday music.
That's fair. What kind of music do you like listening to?
I've been really getting into audiobooks.
That's not music. Audiobook is a book.
Sometimes they have music like intros.
What kind of music do you like? That's what the
I'm
question
getting really
was.
into like industrial horror, and I'm getting into like grunge, and I think there's one called like Sparkle. I'm getting into Sparkle.
Interesting.
I love songs where they talk. I'm having a ogre phase. I'm really into ogre right now.
Nice.
That's about it.
Never heard of Ogre.
They're great.
Ogre is a band?
Yeah, it's OHGR, not OGRE.
Ogre.
It's OHGR.
Interesting.
So good. Their first album is like literally maybe top 10 of all time.
Really?
It's so good.
That's cool. That's funny that their name is Ogre because I just recently, like a week ago, discovered a song called Ogentroost, which is kind of like Ogre.
Yeah, sort of.
And I really like that song. It's like a 10-minute song of like silence, like thunderstorms, kind of. And then the dude just like banging the drums.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he just like bangs a lot of drums and plays a lot of guitar and goes like,
Yeah.
it's good.
sounds
Good
good.
song.
Ogre, I kind of think most of it is actually the singer because he has a kind of interesting voice because he kind of sounds like, he kind of sounds like this.
Oh, that's cool.
It's just kind of interesting.
That reminds me. Okay, I need to say this.
My God.
It's a new genre of music that I discovered recently.
Yeah?
That is amazing.
Is it math rock? I like
so
math rock.
you know, I mean, it's good. But you know, like when you watch like a medieval like movie or show, and they're like in the tavern, like you know, like that kind of music. It's that music, but there's a band that I forget the name of the band.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate, but they do covers of like
those
popular music
as tavern things.
with like that theme. It's really cool, and they do like Pumped Up Kicks is great tavern song.
Great.
That's all I gotta say. It's amazing. I wanted to shout that out to everybody.
Cool. Yeah.
That's all.
Good.
That was good music talk. What's the other one? The other email. Thank you for the email.
I hope you didn't already talk about this in the show, but just in case you didn't, what would your favorite fantasy fight be? Be it superheroes, aliens, or giant monsters? Just any crazy battle.
Fantasy? Boom.
fight.
I got it. Narnia. I don't even know how many times I've talked about Narnia at this point, but the final battle between the Narnians and the witches, the Ice Queen witch forces, is still the coolest battle ever put to cinema. That is it.
That's not what the question was asking, but I appreciate it.
Fantasy fight.
Yeah, like what kind of... I think it's just saying, like, if you could have two things fight or something. I think that's what it's trying to ask. Is what would your favorite fantasy fight be? It superheroes, aliens, giant monsters, just any crazy battle. Like, what would you... Like, I'd love to see cowboys fight aliens.
Well, I have great news for you.
What?
There's a film.
Is James Bond in it?
I don't remember.
I think Daniel Craig's in it.
Okay, something that I would want to see.
Yeah.
I would
Just
love
in case
to
that's what that
see, like, there's not enough, like, interplanetary battles in cinema. We need more, like, people fighting from other planets. Like, they fight on this planet, and then they fly over to the other planet and fight on that planet. Or, like, an intergalactic war.
Sure, yeah.
Star Wars doesn't count.
Yeah.
That's not really what Star Wars... Anyway, we won't get into it.
I would love to see, even though it does say fantasy fight, I would still love to see people fighting bigger monsters. And not
How
like...
big?
Yeah, and as big as you want. I don't care. But specifically, one of the main things I would love to see is people fighting like a mech. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have a mech, it's huge and big, and you just have like 100 people. And how do they take it down?
With what?
You know
What are they
I mean?
fighting with?
It could be anything. It could be swords. I don't care.
Interesting. That would be cool.
I just like the idea of people all working together. I guess because it's kind of like Shin Godzilla does it, so maybe that's why I'm thinking of it.
Yeah.
But it's like a bunch of people working together to take out this one huge thing has always kind of interested me as an idea. And even like if you went like medieval with it, like dragon fights always kind of interested me. Not as like, oh, this single person's going to kill the dragon, but how do we get 50 people and use 50 people to kill one dragon?
Right.
You know?
That'd be good.
Just that whole idea always kind of got to me. Thought it was cool.
That's a good option.
So that'd be that. Any group of people against any big thing. Maybe even a bigger person.
Could be.
That'd be great. But they're on a different planet, so it's fantasy.
All right.
All right, that does it.
That does it.
Next time. We are looking far into the future to the year 2000.
Wow.
The turn
That
of
is
millennium.
like forever from now.
Yes, it's a very long time. And it's going to be the future. There's going to be flying cars, obviously.
Flying cars.
There's going to be like little tablets you put in a microwave and it turns into a Big Mac.
Oh my God.
You know, and stuff
Thank
like
you, Spy
that.
Kids.
It's going to be cool. There's going to be watches that have like every device in them. It's going to be fantastic. But anyway, we're going to be looking at 10 films
From the year
from the year 2000.
2000.
Literally-
The Jonas Brothers have not been there.
Yeah. There is no other, restriction. It is just 10 movies that we want to talk about from the year 2000. Maybe it'll be good ones.
Released in that year.
As long as they release in that year, it's totally fine.
Fair game.
It's fair game. And that should be fun.
Maybe you'll see something that you want to see.
What I'm hoping is we'll be able to see like maybe a trend or, we'll be able to see some kind of tone in either the filmmaking or just the subject matter.
How does that film describe the year?
Like what's going on in the year 2000, which is, I mean, really it's, right before a big shift in just everything.
Right.
What was it like? That moment in time, was there anything we can pick out? Be
How
like,
are we
wow,
capturing this huge
they were really into
achievement?
flip phones.
Right.
What's going on?
Interesting.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we will.
That won't be till next time.
we will.
Thanks for joining us on this episode. Hope you join us.
Thank
for the
you for
next.
joining us. we hope that you do listen to the next installment of the Stagler podcast on the Stagler.
Yep. Alrighty. Take care of yourselves. Bye.